Okay.
جاي شغل تاني اشتغلت معاهم شغلات.
طيب.
Thank you so much, Mona, for joining us at the 2018 Yale Arab Conference. If you can just let me know your thoughts about how the conference went or about how the panel went, that would be much appreciated.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure and an honor to actually come here and spend time with all of you and engage in the conversations that we had. I think it's a real privilege to have that space. It's not something that everybody has access to. It's not something that every student in the US or outside of the US, it's not something that they get to experience, and I think it was a wonderful experience, and I hope you guys can keep it up and keep organizing these conferences.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
اوكي.
عموما
الصوت كويس كده؟
ممكن تبدأ.
خلاص أنا كويس. Okay. Thank you so much for being with us, Ms. Maktabi. It's such an honor to have Ms. Rima Maktabi with us for the first Yale Arab Conference. It was such a pleasure to have her at this event. I just had a question. What were your impressions of this conference? What were your thoughts?
First of all, thank you for this opportunity. It's a great honor to be with you. I feel so proud of all of you, of the hard work you've put in to make this a perfect conference, and it's so far been really perfect. Well done. And thank you for this opportunity to meet Arab students studying in the US with all those brilliant thoughts and bravery and resilience to study long hours and prove they're up to the standards. And it's not easy. It's not easy to live up to the expectations of this system, the educational system. That's not an easy one. You make us proud and keep it up.
Just one more question. What's your message to Arab youth here at Yale and its American universities, and more broadly, Arab youth in universities all around the world outside of the Middle East? What's your message to them in terms of their future, the future generations? Amalna.
This is the most important phase of your life. You will not know how important it is until later in life. Make use of every minute. Dream. Have big dreams, because most likely you will make them happen if you work hard. And plan and work hard and study and live and have fun when you can. And have big dreams for your countries, and don't forget your own countries, the Arab world. The Arab world needs you. You are our hope. You are Amalna. And I think that in few years, I'll meet some of you and I'll feel proud that I was one of the first Yale Arab Conference attendees.
Thank you so much, Ms. Maktabi. It's such an honor to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Salam Fayyad, who was the keynote address in the first Yale Arab Conference. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Would you be able to just give us your opinions on what your experience was throughout this conference?
It really more than met my expectations, to be honest with you. I was thrilled to know that Arab students here at Yale sort of got together and came up with this idea and of holding this conference. I mean, I was thrilled actually by the thought of having this forum that brings about a sense of community among Arab students without excluding the others, while still open actually to including others in the discourse and discussion. So I thought we had a fantastic day and a half here, had several important interventions, seminars, interaction between students and speakers in ways that actually are extremely pleasing. I hope this will be beginning of something to build on. To be honest with you, I'm actually greatly satisfied by the sense of accomplishment that this should really impart to the Yale Arab Students Association. They got together not knowing the extent to which they may be able to push this initiative forward. I think what they have been able to do is something that can act as a solid foundation to build on in the years ahead with some activities like this. Bring about Arab students from other universities, others also to get involved, and all of this sort of thing. Extremely helpful, encouraging, indeed a thrill for me to see young Arab students at such an important institution of higher learning like Yale to see them able to do something so competently, so efficiently, and with such energy and passion.
To all the
is,
Arabs
to
who are
be
currently
honest with you,
here at
source of
Yale.
great deal of satisfaction and pride
Just-
as an Arab.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just one more. It's such an honor to have Ms. Nancy Youssef with us in the inaugural Yale Arab Conference. She's the Wall Street Journal national security correspondent. Thank you so much for coming with us today and being part of our foreign policy panel. I just had a question. In terms of your impressions of this conference, how do you think it went?
I really enjoyed it. I have to say, for me, the best part was meeting other women and young people who are in areas where they're blazing their own paths, organizing, thinking about some of the issues that I cover day to day. So often what I focus on is what's happening in Washington or happening in terms of policy. But to meet people who are then taking it the next step further, they're meeting with refugees, they're trying to make a situation better, has been just so wonderful for me. And of course, just meeting young people who are thinking about these issues is really invigorating for me. So I couldn't have asked for a better experience.
Thank you so much. And my last question is, in terms of your message for the youth here at universities, what's your message to them?
I've never thought about that. I mean, I think to me, they give me the message, which is they're so hopeful and optimistic and forward-leaning, and I think that's really empowering. I mean, I think so often you think about how they can take a message from somebody else, but really, I guess my only message would be so often what you're doing is inspiring us, and that would probably be my message more than anything else.
Thank you so much for being with us in this inaugural conference. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. It was such a great honor to have Ambassador Robert Ford with us in the inaugural Yale Arab Conference. Thank you so much for being with us, Ambassador. I just had a question. What were your impressions of this conference?
I love the theme of the conference, Amalna. I think it's important more than ever in the United States to explain that the Middle East region and the Arab region more broadly is not just a region of conflict, but it's a region of hope, it's a region of success, and it's a region where people are living and trying to make their lives better. And I think the conference has done a good job beginning that work.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. And of course, the theme of this is Amalna, one message of hope. What's your message to sort of Arab youth who are living here in the US in sort of American universities who are hoping to go back to the Arab world? What's your message for them?
Well, my first message is we're honored that you're in the United States, and we're happy you're in the United States, and I hope we see many more people from that part of the world come to the United States to learn, make their futures better, but also to share their experiences of that culture with Americans. I think too many Americans don't begin to understand that part of the world. Second, I would say to them, if you go back to your countries to build, Allah ma'akum, and don't forget that you do have many friends in the United States.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Ford. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
It was our honor to have Lorna Solis with us today in the inaugural Yale Arab Conference. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to ask you about your impressions about this conference since it's the first time we're having it here at Yale.
I'm honestly incredibly impressed by not only the speakers that you've brought, the conversation that we are having, but also the fact that, you guys are very busy, year two and other year Yale students with very little time, and for you to pull something like this off has been incredible. So I think I absolutely feel that the topics that we're discussing are incredibly important today in the world, in the Middle East, bringing this to students who are not from the region and trying to educate them and opening them up to different ways of thinking and not the same rhetoric that they've been hearing in the media every day. And it comes from the student body and professors and others, has been incredibly rewarding. And I've even learned a lot, and I'm in the region. So that's a testament to the people that you brought and how much work you put into this. So kudos to you. Really impressive, and I'm honored to be part of the whole thing.
Thank you so much. Just one last question. It was our honor to have Lorna Solis with us today in the inaugural Yale Arab Conference. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Wanted to ask you about your impressions about this conference since it's the first time we're having it here at Yale.
I'm honestly incredibly impressed by not only the speakers that you've brought, the conversation that we are having, but also the fact that, you guys are very busy, year two and other year Yale students with very little time, and for you to pull something like this off has been incredible. So I think I absolutely feel that the topics that we're discussing are incredibly important today in the world, in the Middle East, bringing this to students who are not from the region and trying to educate them and opening them up to different ways of thinking and not the same rhetoric that they've been hearing in the media every day. And it comes from the student body and professors and others, has been incredibly rewarding. And I've even learned a lot, and I'm in the region. So that's a testament to the people that you brought and how much work you put into this. So kudos to you. Really impressive, and I'm honored to be part of the whole thing.
Thank you so much. Just one last question. Thank you, Ahmed. And لا ممكن نبدأ ثاني مرة.
Okay.
خلاص نبدأ. تمام. Thank you so much, Ahmed. Even though you're very young of age, you're an inspiration for many of the youth here, especially here in the US. You're very well known. You do a lot of stuff. You go to many conferences. You go to the United Nations. So what's your message to other refugees who are settling around Connecticut and around other areas? What's your message to them? How do we inspire them? How do we give them the amal that one day things will go towards it better?
I think it starts with a question, and that's, how can I empower myself by empowering those around me? And that can have many, many different answers. That could be starting an organization. That could be simply having a conversation with someone that's very different than you. And I think with refugee youth, especially here in Connecticut and otherwise, it's important for us to take agency and to take charge of our own narrative. It's time that we tell our own stories and really be the faces of the issues that people talk about, and really be those voices to talk about the issues that affect us directly. It shouldn't be something that is always separate from us, but it should be something that is from within our communities, ourselves, and the people that we represent.
Thank you so much for being with us, Ahmed. It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Perfect.
Thank you so much, Mona, Thank you so much, Mona, for joining us at the inaugural 2018 Yale Arab Conference. If you can just kindly let me know about your thoughts and impressions from your time here, from the panel, what you thought about the entire conference in general.
I want to say thank you for inviting me. It was a real honor to come here and participate with everybody. It was a great and lively conversation. I think it's a real privilege that you and we get to have the space. خلاص مش هتنفع.
Good.
Thank you so much for being with us, Chris George. Chris George is the current head of IRIS.
Wait, there is a problem with the sound.
Can you hear me now?
Aye. Well, thank you very much for hosting me. This was a fantastic and a spectacular event. I've learned a lot from the panels, from the talks, and I also felt part of a bigger body, a bigger active body, and that's always good. So I would highly recommend this to be repeated every single year, because as a community here at Yale and in the United States, we need to have our voices heard. So activism through art, through literature, through poetry, through conferences like this is very important to me. And so what I would advise my fellow Arab students in each college is to invest in such conference, so that we draw and build more bridges between cultures and communities, not walls.
Thank you so much for your time, Malafat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.